Good evening and welcome to the Monday, December 6th, 2021 meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education. In accordance with the state's Sunshine Law of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Hillsborough Township Board of Education was provided on December 2nd, 2021 to the Hillsborough Beacon and the Courier News. Mr. Mahmood, may we have a roll call, please?
Surely. Mr. Gillette?
Here.
Mr. Kidd?
Present.
Mr. Marini?
Here.
Mrs. Maroon?
Here.
Mrs. Nurse?
Here.
Mr. Oliver?
Here.
Mr. Pulsifer? Mrs. Stats?
Here.
And Ms. Trujillo?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Whereas, so now we will take a motion to go into executive session, and I will read the preface. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975, provides that a public body may exclude the public from that portion of a meeting of which the public body discusses certain matters for which confidentiality is required as permitted in Section 7B of the Act. Resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Hillsborough and the County of Somerset and the State of New Jersey as follows. 1, the matters to be discussed are an attorney-client privilege matter and personnel matters. 2, the matters discussed in executive session shall be disclosed to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mahmood, did you catch that?
Yes, John Oliver, Mr. Maroon.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We are now in executive session. We expect to return at 7:30. Thank you. Good evening. We are now back from executive session. And Mr. Mahmood, if we could have a roll call, please.
Surely. Mr. Gillette?
Here.
Mr. Kidd?
Present.
Mr. Marini?
Present.
Mrs. Maroon?
Here.
Mrs. Nurse?
Here.
Mr. Oliver?
Here.
Mr. Pulsifer? Mrs. Stats?
Here.
And Ms. Trujillo?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. May we now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to acknowledge the correspondence as listed and then turn it over for committee reports, and I will start with the Governance Committee minutes. So the Governance Committee met last week. I believe we reviewed, just for informational purposes, we reviewed the bylaws for electing board officers since we will be having a reorganization meeting in January. Then we talked about the bylaw 164. I think folks have heard about that, where we wanted to align it with what is current practice and also to make it consistent with the public participation bylaw 167. Then we talked about bylaw 155, which is about board committees. That will not be on tonight's agenda. There was some discussion after our committee meeting about additional items that needed to be reviewed again. So on tonight's agenda for adoption, I believe it's in the operations section, we will only be adopting, or for first reading, bylaw 164, conduct of a board meeting. And that's all I have. So I would like to turn it over to Mr. Gillette for the operations minutes.
Thank you. Operations met on November 30th. We reviewed the two food service related policies that you see on your agenda tonight. There's nothing special about them. They align with practices that we're already practicing. So we're going to keep doing until we're perfect on that. We had a referendum update for Mr. Mahmood. On the referendum projects, everything is going well, with the exception of some of the HVAC work in the district due to supply chain issues with sheet metal and univentilators. But we're working on it. Kathy Schwab, who's the purchasing assistant, was in to talk about which professional appointments that will be on the agenda in May. They begin that process now, finding candidates. So in May, you'll have to remember this: district architect, district attorney, and school physician will be the three professional appointments that they're going to begin looking at soon, so they can have a recommendation to us, and that'll be on the agenda in May for appointment beginning July 1st, 2022. We talked preliminarily about Operations Committee member wish list items for the budget, just preliminary. For the operations side of the budget, and possible ways to use some of the capital reserve account. We discussed some issues with transportation. Yes, we realized that at some of the schools, there are some very late buses arriving late to home in the afternoon. It's a driver shortage issue with our vendor that we're still working on. We appreciate patience of the parents and students while we work through this issue that doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon. And that's it. Pretty short meeting, actually, I remember. If I recall correctly, it was very short, right, Jane? Short meeting. I don't know. You were looking right at me. I thought maybe. All right. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Gillette. Mr. Marini?
Yeah, quick question for Mr. Gillette.
Yeah.
I know I'm kind of leading the witness here, but there was an update on the HES playground. Are you aware of any
Is that
changes?
on, did we talk about that on the HES playground?
We actually, we have good news about that. I don't know if we talked about it, I think in operations, just a quick thing, maybe the meeting before, just to say that it was moving along, and officially, I think tomorrow, Dr. Antunes, I believe, there's an official ribbon cutting ceremony at 2:00. So we
I
are,
didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't in operations, but we discussed something about it in governance. I don't remember. One of the other committees, we mentioned it, right? Something
Yes, we
about
did.
it came up somewhere.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just like good news, and that seemed like a good thing to announce.
Okay, next, Ms. Stats, if you, with the Communications Committee minutes.
Okay, the Communications Committee met on December 2nd. We discussed a community-wide survey proposal from a consulting company and many issues related to that. We then discussed the possibility of having presentations about various topics at future board meetings. And we also discussed the possibility of a shared services agreement for communication services. And that's what I have for Communications Committee. And may I also talk about a municipal alliance related?
Yes, please.
This Thursday, December 9th, a documentary called Like will be shown virtually at 7 p.m. This documentary explores the impact of social media on our lives and the effect of technology on the brain. The goal of the documentary is to inspire and help us self-regulate to find the right balance of social media in our lives. An email was sent out on November 29th with additional information, including the link to join. So that's this Thursday, December 9th at 7 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you, Ms. Stats. Are there any questions or comments on the committee reports? Okay, seeing none, then let's move on to a motion and a second to approve the executive minutes for November 22nd. So moved. Thank you, Ms. Marini.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Marini. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I don't believe I was I there on November
No,
20th?
no, you were not. Thank you,
All right,
Mr. Kidd. So abstention for Mr. Kidd.
thank you. Then motion passes.
Thank you. Next, may I have a motion and a second for the public minutes for November 22nd?
So moved?
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Marini. Thank you, Ms. Maroon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Kidd with the
Thank you.
abstention.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to open it up to the public for comments on the action agenda only. And I will read the preface. We very much welcome input from the public. During board meetings, there will be two 30-minute periods of time that the meeting will be open for public comment, where members of the public are invited to comment, which they may do so if they're attending in person. During the first public comment period, members of the public may comment about items that are listed on tonight's agenda before the board votes. During the second public comment period, members of the public may comment on any school or school district issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the school district as per bylaw 167. Before you state your comment, you will be asked to provide your name and address. There is a 3-minute limit on public comment. Please understand that our public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board believes there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent will address the comment. There may be times when a member of the public makes a comment or asks a question about personnel or hiring decisions. Kindly note that the Open Public Meetings Act and the privacy rights of public employees encompassed therein do not permit the board to discuss personnel issues in public session. So if there's any comments, in public session. In public session, thank you. If there is any comments on the action agenda, now is your time. Okay, seeing none, then I will close public comments, and I will turn it over to the superintendent for the action agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Trio. Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the education agenda as follows: 9.1 to 9.8, motion to approve professional travel-related expenses, to affirm the harassment, intimidation, and bullying determination, motion to accept FY22 funds from ESEA, motion to accept carryover funds from ESEA, motion to accept FY22 funds from ESSER 2, and motion to approve staff for elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund, that's ESSER 2 Math Learning Acceleration Program. Motion to approve staff for the ESSER Music Ensemble Learning Acceleration Program, and motion to approve field trip destinations as listed.
Thank you, Dr. Antunes. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Thank you, Ms. Stats. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Mahmood, if we could have a roll call, please.
Surely. Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mr. Kidd?
Yes.
Mr. Marini?
Yes.
Mrs. Maroon?
Yes.
Mrs. Nurse?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver? Yes. Mrs. Stats?
Yes.
And Ms. Trujillo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the human resources agenda as follows: 10.1 to 10.13, motion to approve retirements and resignations, and I'd like to thank Thomas Amakwa, Christine Berkuda, and Deborah Mamala for 28, 20, and 21 years of service to the students and staff of Hillsborough Township Schools. That's a lot of years giving commitments to this community. Motion to approve revised leaves of absence and revised leave replacement teacher. Motion to approve a revised mentor. Motion to approve revised intramural advisor and 6-period coverages. Motion to approve revised science lab coverage. Motion to rescind a leave replacement contract. Motion to approve leaves of absence and appointments as listed. Motion to approve student teachers. Motion to pre-approve extra coverage and to approve extra coverage as listed.
Thank you, Dr. Antunes. May I have a motion and a second? So moved. Thank you, Ms. Nurse.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Gillette.
Now, maybe I should probably know this, but what is an intramural advisor at an elementary school? What is that responsibility? No, I probably know it, I just don't remember. Mr. Here, if you know, you can say it.
Let me just look, hold on.
I'm adjusting to the chair.
Well, would you like, I could take a stab at it? So from what I understand, just from my own personal experience, intramural advisors, I believe in 4th grade, there are intramural leagues that have run for like 16 weeks or so, something like that. I don't remember the exact time. And it's an opportunity for the students in 4th grade to play sports after the school day. Thank you, Ms. Maroon. So I believe, at least that's from my time at Woods Road. Does that answer your question, Mr. Gillette?
All right, thank you. I haven't seen it, I haven't seen it come up ever. But I got you.
Yeah, the intramurals at the elementary level, it's like an after-school club for any student who wants to play, competitive sports, outside of just their phys ed class. So sometimes, I know I did it as a student teacher, I ran it, I did like an after-school field hockey intramural club, not field hockey, floor hockey. So, and different, so it varies, per teacher.
All right, thank you, Ms. Maroon. Thank you, Mr. Gillette. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so if we could have a roll call, Mr. Mahmood?
Sure. Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mr. Kidd?
Yes.
Mr. Marini?
Yes.
Mrs. Maroon?
Yes.
Mrs. Nurse?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver? Yes. Mrs. Stats?
Yes.
And Ms. Trujillo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the operations agenda as follows, 11.1 to 11.2. Motion to approve bylaws and policies for first reading is listed, and motion to approve policies and regulations for second reading is listed.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gillette. Thank you, Mr. Marini. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, if we could have a roll call, Mr. Mahmood?
Mr. Gillette?
Yes.
Mr. Kidd?
Yes.
Mr. Marini?
Yes.
Mrs. Maru?
Yes.
Mrs. Nurse?
Yes.
Mr. Oliver? Yes. Mrs. Stats?
Yes.
And Ms. Trujillo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And now turning it back to Dr. Antunes for the superintendent's report.
Okay, I will start with some good news and some not so great news, as well as the board and district goal review. So first off, congratulations to the Hillsborough High School Raiders. The Hillsborough Raiders defeated Kingsway 28-7 on Saturday to win the South Central Group 5 final of the NJSIA Rothman Orthopedics Football Championship at Rutgers University SHI Stadium. Congratulations to the entire team on this historic win for the Raiders. The championship made this year's team the most winning in Raider football history. The undefeated team outscored their opponents by more than 300 points, and a special shout out to all of the coaches and staff for their hard work, especially head coach Kevin Carty. This game was his 100th career victory, becoming the state's 46th coach to have reached that milestone. So congratulations to the whole team. Also tonight, as part of Monday Night Football, Tommy Amakwa will be highlighted in the You Got Mossed segment, as Mr. Oliver pointed out to me before the meeting. So that's quite exciting for everybody, so especially for Tommy. So congratulations to Tommy. So with the increase in COVID-19 cases across the state and within our central region, both New Jersey as well as Somerset County are classified in the high range. Therefore, please be on the lookout for an update on quarantine requirements. These changes become necessary to keep our students and staff safe and to keep our schools open. They will likely be coming out by the end of this week. I'd also like to share concerns about the number of COVID cases we are seeing specifically at Auten Road. This spike in cases is concerning. However, should parents choose to take advantage of the recent availability of vaccinations for this age group, we're hopeful that these numbers will begin to decrease across the board. It is encouraging to share that although this increase is concerning, I want to assure everyone that none of these cases to date has been transmitted at school. With this in mind, please continue to be diligent in following guidelines for when to keep your child home from school after COVID exposure, when they are sick with COVID-like symptoms, or if they have traveled and are required to quarantine. Following these guidelines will allow us to continue to keep schools open. As I've previously shared, while our priority is to keep schools open and programs running all day, 5 days per week, it will take everyone's diligence to do so, and I will not hesitate to close a class, a program, a grade level, or a school as necessary and appropriate. Please assist us in continuing to keep our schools and programs open. We said that if there's a sustained high or a sustained low, we would make either further restrictions or less restrictions. We're not quite sustained yet, but constant interaction with our local Department of Health and our school physician is indicating that is helping us to determine what decisions will be made. So everybody needs to work together to make this happen. And I'd like to update the board on provide an update to the district and board goals for this evening. So in June, the board did some goal setting. And then in August, the board approved those goals. And today, we're going to do a very quick update overview of where we are with these goals. So the first district goal was to refine current communication system structures and processes to result in consistent internal and external communication. So what have we done so far to ensure that this happens? Well, we've approved the position of community outreach coordinator, central registrar. We're still seeking someone for that position. The school board's representative facilitated a discussion on communication norms, and the board did conduct a self-evaluation. We have created and facilitated a parent focus group, and we do facilitate monthly meetings with HEA leadership. In terms of promoting multicultural awareness, gender sensitivity, and appreciation of the diversity in the community, we did have NJSBA Representative Vince DeLucia come on over to facilitate a conversation surrounding implicit bias. We have reviewed all of our current policies, or we haven't. New Jersey School Board's reviewed that and provided us with an overview. There's been recommendation and board adoption of books and novels from diverse authors portraying diverse characters, and we've increased turnkey training opportunities for staff. Returning students to school full-time and providing all necessary supports for students and staff to acclimate and be successful has been the focus of most of our work that we've been doing since the last 20 months or so. So we continue to implement layered mitigation strategies and ensure consistent adherence to such. We have developed plans for the utilization of the federal funds that provide support for our most at-risk students. We continue to consult with our district physician and departments of health on all issues. I say departments of health because it's not just the local Department of Health, it's also the county and state departments of health. We do establish, maintain, and facilitate our committee, Successful September Committee, and so far we have successfully remained open 5 full days a week since September. The board is working toward improving governance practices and increasing committee and board effectiveness by working toward alignment of bylaws, reviewing the committee structure for possible adjustment. They did conduct their self-evaluation, and school boards did review all current policies. The board is developing a plan to improve and enhance communications with all stakeholders. It's including focusing on intra-board communications. So I do issue a weekly confidential newsletter to the board in an effort to keep all board members up to date on the same issues. Ms. Thornton, New Jersey School Board's rep, came and facilitated a discussion on communication norms and how that ought to occur. And we are facilitating targeted general Q&A sessions both prior to board meetings and meeting the community where they are in the community. That provides the update to the board goals, Mr. Trujillo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Antunes.
And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, great. So any comments from the board before I turn it over to the public for public comments on the budget and on any topic? Oh, Ms. Maroon.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just want to take a minute and not only congratulate the entire high school football program, the athletes, the staff, the cheerleaders, the band, and all the aspects of the Friday night game experience. But I want to especially thank the coaching staff and head coach Kevin Carty for their hard work, dedication, and bringing yet another accolade to the long list of accomplishments, both academically and athletically, that exists here in Hillsborough and makes our schools top-notch and desirable. Last March, the board received numerous emails from concerned parents calling for removal and a change in coaches. And I want to personally say that I'm glad that we supported our existing coaches, and I hope that the coaching staff can enjoy this successful, undefeated season just a little bit more and have it taste a little bit sweeter. Thank you, coaches. And again, congratulations to the entire football program, and best of luck to all the student athletes and competitors moving into the winter seasons.
Thank you, Ms. Maroon. Any other comments from the board? Mr. Gillette.
Yes, so I want to also echo Lisa's congratulations to the football team on their great season and great win on Saturday. I didn't make it out to the game, but I did watch it on the live stream. I didn't see our band. Is there any reason that our marching band was not at the game? Lisa, do you know if there's any reason our band, because the Kingsway band was there? No? Okay. We don't have any answer about that? I know people in the community are wondering also why our band wasn't present. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gillette, for your comments. So next I will, any other comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, please, now would be an opportunity for the public to comment on the budget or on any other topic. If you would come to the podium. Do we have?
Reverend Rodney Williams, 101 Everett Close. Just a question about the superintendent update report. Is that available for us to be able to have a copy of or to review along with you?
Do you mean the goals?
Yeah, the goals and then the update.
We can, I don't see any reason why we can't get that on the website.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing none, then I will now close public comments and turn it back over to the board for any comments. Mr. Gillette.
I'd like to ask the superintendent to find out why the band was not at the game. I mean, typically,
So
I think
Mr.
the
Gillette?
superintendent would offer to do that, but she's not offering it, so I'd like to just directly ask her to find that out.
So, Mr. Gillette, I will inquire offline with the superintendent. I don't think it's fair to ask that at the public board meeting tonight, when she would have to research that information. Any other, Ms. Stats?
I'd like to echo my everyone else's congratulations for the football team, but I also like to, I went to the dance team showcase, and it was amazing. There was a representation of several dance academies, but of course our own dance team, and I believe Ray was one of the performers, and they were amazing. I think my legs cramped just watching them, because I have absolutely no ability. You can ask all my friends about that. But it was such a positive experience. But I am concerned about bringing up the fact that the band wasn't at the game. The band has performed at almost every football game. I don't want to get into tit for tat, but I don't know, was there an outcry about the lack of attendance by non-band members and families at their competitions? And I don't want to take away, bringing this up takes away from the joy of the football team winning their championship. So, I'd like to keep it positive. The football team won. The band has had wonderful experiences with their competitions and so many of our other sports teams and academic teams. And let's keep it in a positive point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stats. Mr. Oliver.
So I would just like to jump on the bandwagon and echo my sentiments to a job well done by the coaching staff, the team, phenomenal season, something doesn't come along very often. I want everybody in the community to know that the town is planning some things. It's early in the planning stages. Keep your ears open to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The town's going to do some more to honor these young men and this coaching staff. This is a major accomplishment. We need to share in this success as a community, as a school. This is just a great accomplishment. And if anybody was there at the game over the weekend, it was phenomenal. It was very exciting. But this isn't over. We're going to continue to share in the success and really pay honor to these kids who did a great job. So more to come.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Any other comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, I have just a few updates or things I wanted to mention I sent it in an email to the board today, but there is a school board's county meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m. Actually, it's 6 p.m. for the dinner at Somerset County Votech. It will be in-person there and also virtual. So new board members who were elected in November are eligible to attend, and I have reached out with that registration information. That's on Thursday. Tomorrow, there will be a 3 hours virtual information session organized by school boards, which is called Roles, Responsibilities, and Resources, which is a great opportunity for newly elected school board members, and actually the public in general, I guess. I think it's open to anybody to register so that you can actually learn what the role of being a school board member is. Okay. Then I wanted to thank the negotiations committee for a job well done with the association, that we had a successful meeting and came to tentative agreements, and more details will be forthcoming after the agreement has been signed. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for their time on that. Then this Friday and Saturday, the middle school will be doing a play called Curiosity Cat. I'm not sure it's open to the public exactly. It's not? Okay, maybe. So that's great that at least the parents will be able to attend, which is wonderful. And then on a closing note, I wanted to mention, because I think Ms. Mamawala, she's retiring. Her son, Adam, and I don't know him, he's a Hillsborough High School graduate from 2005. He will be headlining at the Stress Factory on December 22nd at 7 p.m. So what an amazing opportunity to see our hometown student coming back to New Brunswick to perform comedy show. So that was all I wanted to say. And if there's no other comments, then I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Thank you, Mr. Marini. All in favor? Aye. I see you back next Monday, December 13th. Thank you.